Tonight, parking police in the palm of your hand.
If I knew there was a place it was going that would be taken seriously, I would do it.
You may soon be able to turn in other drivers for parking violations, how the program might work, and how Winnipeggers feel about it. Also tonight, the blunt reality.
What we want at the end of the day is guaranteed safety.
Why cannabis store workers are rallying to demand safer working conditions. Plus, can you spot the difference? Where in Manitoba RCMP are concerned counterfeit bills may be circulating.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Drivers parking illegally might soon have to smile for the camera. The Winnipeg Parking Authority is exploring a plan where the public can take photos of parking violations and submit them. A ticket would then be mailed to the vehicle owner based on the photo only. With more, CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. Jeff, why would the Parking Authority want to rely on people to crack down on drivers?
City says this would help with enforcement when parking officers are not available or the reported vehicle is moved before a ticket can be written. Del Sexsmith sees his share of people parked where they aren't supposed to, like in front of a fire hydrant or staying past their allotted time.
Well, people go into a loading zone because they rationalize they're only going to be a few minutes, and they're in 10, 15 minutes, and before you know it, you realize they're actually in violation of the no parking zone.
Sexsmith says he'd have no problem reporting these types of infractions. In fact, he'd even snap a photo with his phone for proof.
I'm very camera friendly with my phone, and if I knew there was a place it was going that would be taken seriously, I would do it.
In one day, he might be able to do just that, and a ticket would be issued. As part of their annual business plan, the Winnipeg Parking Authority wants to study a photo-based public reporting system. And based on the photos alone, tickets would be mailed to the vehicle owners. Right now, the city says parking officers are required to investigate violations, and this could free them up. We are in the very early stages of exploring if we could enforce less serious parking violations using public submitted photographs alone. The city also says this measure could help with enforcement when officers are not available or the reported vehicle is moved by the time they get there.
So I guess it's a sense of community accountability, right?
We posed the question to people, would they turn in fellow drivers parked illegally by taking and submitting pictures?
Would I? That's a good question. Maybe if I was walking, I don't think I would stop driving to do something like that.
Olivia Olford admits she sometimes parks where she shouldn't because there is not enough on-street parking, so she's against it.
I don't think it's fair to have people penalizing other people, just trying to get through their day and park where they have to park.
The Parking Authority's business plan is scheduled to be discussed at the Public Works Committee meeting on December 8th.
All right, interesting to see how this goes, Jeff. Thanks. Well, a pair of rollovers shut down stretches of the Perimeter Highway this morning and sent one person to hospital by Stars Air ambulance. The first rollover shut down the westbound lanes near the intersection of PR Road 330 for several hours. Winnipeg police say preliminary information indicates it was a single vehicle rollover. One person was airlifted to hospital in critical condition, while a second was brought to hospital by ambulance. A similar situation unfolded a short time later on the North Perimeter, where RCMP say a vehicle driving west crossed the highway and flipped onto its side in the opposite ditch. The man behind the wheel there was not injured. Robbed at gunpoint and threatened with violence. That's what staff at Manitoba Cannabis stores are dealing with on a regular basis. It's so bad, some have even quit the industry altogether. And tonight, a new survey from the union representing workers says something must be done. As CTV's Harrison Shin shows you, the stories are anything but mellow.
In the beginning of this year, the store I work at was robbed at gunpoint. Yeah.
violence is hitting cannabis retail store workers hard.
This one customer, he would come up, make very sexual comments about me and my coworkers while I was working there. He would even caress my hand while I was trying to pass him stuff.
The United Food and Commercial Workers Local 832 represents some workers in the province. They say these women are not alone. Their new survey says just 8% of cannabis store staff feel safe at work at all times, with 26% saying most of the time and 47% saying sometimes. Those numbers represent about 100 workers who responded online. Secretary-Treasurer of the union, Marie Buchan, says workers are at risk.
These surveys from workers across the province in the cannabis industry just amplified the issues about assaults, robberies, theft, serious injuries in the workplace on a day-to-day basis from any worker in the industry.
The union is asking for new safety measures to be legislated by the province.
The ban working alone was one of the things, also controlled entries, removing window coverings, mandate closing times, and ensuring security systems, including silent alarms and panic buttons.
McClemens said she wants to do a good job, but
I have to admit there is a little cloud of anxiety that lingers every time I go in because I don't know what I'm walking into.
While Crook has quit the industry altogether.
No, I don't intend to go back either.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The union says it presented its findings to the province on November 17th. CTV News reached out to Justice Minister Matt Wiebe, and in a statement, Minister Wiebe says in part its office is reviewing the proposal. A 53-year-old man is charged tonight in connection to a fatal shooting that happened this past summer in the city's Spence neighborhood. 25-year-old Melvin Catchaway Jr. died in hospital after being shot August 29th in the 600 block of Langside Street. Winnipeg police say he was shot during an altercation with the accused. Police say the two men knew each other prior to the incident. Last week, police arrested Troy Donovan Bernier and charged him with second-degree murder. He was detained in custody. None of the charges have been proven in court. Mounties are investigating after a sharp-eyed clerk in Neepawa realized they've been handed a counterfeit $100 bill. And now there are concerns there may be more phony banknotes circulating in the community. Take a look. Can you tell the difference? RCMP released these photos of the fake bills next to legitimate $100 bills. And if you look closely, there are some subtle differences. This transaction happened on November 19th, and now RCMP are investigating other places where counterfeit bills may have also been used. Officers want to speak to this woman to find out where it came from. Anyone who recognizes her is asked to call Neepawa RCMP. Mounties say if you suspect you've been handed a phony bill, you should contact local police. The province is boosting financial support to those impacted by the record-setting wildfire season. The provincial government is contributing a total of $6.5 million to individuals and small businesses in wildfire-affected regions. It's matching funds raised through the Canadian Red Cross's 2025 Manitoba Wildfire Appeal Fund. The funding includes about $2 million earmarked for small business support. The province also says registered evacuees who previously received emergency financial assistance will be eligible for $120 per adult and $65 per child. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. Saw some snow falling earlier in the day. Any more on the radar?
Well, it's making its way on out of Manitoba. It's also falling in northwestern Ontario. We still have a little bit of light snow falling in the Winnipeg area, but by this evening, it's going to pretty much peter out. But in behind, some very strong north winds will develop that could create blowing snow for us here in the Red River Valley tonight. Further north, it's clear, but it's also very cold, so much so that Environment Canada has issued a new type of weather alert. I'll explain that a bit more coming up. But let's take a look right now through the Bathfitter Live Eye, shall we? Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, it is -9 with a little bit of light snow continuing, but those north winds are already building. Look at that. North at 38 kilometers an hour with wind gusts up to 48. The wind chill makes it feel like -19. The pressure's rising, and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 74%.
Thanks, Colleen. Premier Wab Kinew has penned a letter to the Provincial Advisory Committee that oversees how the public is notified when a convicted sex offender is released or breaches conditions.
I think it's time that we revisit the criteria, the policies that they use, and so I'm writing this letter to them to appeal to their expertise, to appeal to their understanding of the justice system so that we can tighten things up.
The Premier says if someone on the sex registry breaches conditions by being at a school, the public should be notified no matter what. It comes after a convicted sex offender allegedly made his way into an elementary school washroom last week in St. Vital and grabbed a student. And tonight, Canoe says the accused in this case allegedly violated conditions months earlier at a nearby high school.
From what I understand of the current policies is that when somebody on the registry breaches bail, community notification is only automatic if the bail violation is related to an offense that is sexual in nature. I think when we think about a situation where somebody's on that sex offender registry, they're at a school when they're not supposed to be, they get charged for it, they breach their bail conditions. To me, that seems like it's close enough. The common sense test would dictate that in a situation like that, the public should be notified.
Canoe's ask to the advisory committee comes a day after the province told schools to review their emergency policies on issues such as whether doors are locked and whether entrances are monitored. Schools were told to report back to the province. And we've got some grim statistics to share with you tonight. Manitoba continues to sport the highest homicide rate among provinces for the third consecutive year. Statistics Canada released its homicide trends report showing our province's homicide rate last year was just over 6 people per 100,000. That's more than triple the national homicide rate. And compared to 2023, it has jumped 22%. The report also found more youth are being charged with homicide, and Indigenous people continue to be overrepresented among homicide victims. Well, you may soon be able to walk into any of Winnipeg's 4 police stations and report a crime or get a background safety check done. Currently, just the downtown police headquarters on Smith Street is open to the public. The other 3, the North, East, and West districts, closed indefinitely during the pandemic. But in his latest report to the police board, Chief Gene Bowers says he intends to deliver on his promise of reopening all of those offices early in the new year. More details are expected during Friday's police board meeting. A coalition of social groups, researchers, and others is hoping to shift the conversation around crime and crime prevention.
We have politicians who will tell us they have the solution, the easy solution, lock them up longer, treat them harsher. The fact is that's what we've always done.
That's Kate Keller with the Social Planning Council of Winnipeg, one of the dozens of groups which make up the Police Accountability Coalition. Today, it released its response to the ongoing public conversation around bail reform and tough-on-crime measures. Rather than doubling down on tactics such as mandatory minimum sentences and tougher bail conditions, it says governments need to spend serious money addressing socioeconomic factors that drive people to commit crime in the first place, such as poverty, homelessness, racial injustice, and lack of opportunity.
Of course, we need to stop it way at the beginning with social development. We need to support our children so they're not growing up in poverty. That's all of the big picture stuff. And I do need to make the point that the politicians will mention root causes, but the problem is we never get to those. They say we have to spend our money on these things first, and then we'll get to the root causes.
The group is also calling for an overhaul of the corrections system to focus on addressing recidivism and reintegration into society rather than punishment. The report makes more than a dozen recommendations addressed to each level of government. Manitoba's official opposition is calling on the province to better support children and youth living with type 1 diabetes.
Right now, if a child is too young to adjust their insulin pump at lunchtime, school staff cannot assist them, forcing parents to leave work to do it.
The PCs are imploring the province to introduce a mandatory standard of care similar to what's been done in provinces like British Columbia and Nova Scotia. More specifically, it would entail training some school staff in insulin administration. It's something the PCs say Diabetes Canada and parents have long been calling for.
I think having to quit my job to give my son health care in school it's not right. There's other children with disabilities in school who they get their treatment, but my son with type 1 diabetes doesn't.
Health Minister Yusuma Asagara says the province is working on a Manitoba approach to meet the needs of as many children as possible. That means following Diabetes Canada guidelines and consulting both health and education professionals in the province. A timeline on when details of that plan will be announced was not provided. A new Indigenous-led downtown campus officially opened today following a $14 million expansion project.
It's so exciting for our community, our young people, our relatives that are going to be able to access this space. Not only for coming here for like programming, but just to come here because it feels like home.
Gani Ganichuk, a nonprofit providing education and job skills training, celebrated the opening of its new facility at 455 McDermott Avenue. It says the revitalized space has added 32 new daycare spaces, a community kitchen, as well as training and education rooms. The organization's executive director says the space will be pivotal in providing youth programming and teaching kids how to stay safe.
Now that we have the space, we're able to provide a lot more, to the community and to our youth and our young people.
More than $6.3 million for the expansion project came from the Federal Green and Inclusive Community Buildings Program. Maryland Bridge was a sea of white gowns, halos, and of course fluttering wings Tuesday morning as the Misericordia Angel Squad made its annual return. The flock of angels collected money during the morning rush hour for pediatric programming at Misericordia Health Center Foundation. And this year, the cherished fundraising event is celebrating 30 years. And it's not losing any steam. In fact, one of the angels tells us the squad just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
It was just a few angels outside of the health center on the bridge. Now it's grown in popularity since the 20th anniversary. We've now, as I mentioned earlier, have hundreds of people coming out in the morning. The surrounding schools will come. Some of our dignitaries, the staff members, community members. So the event is something that really warms people's hearts. And as you can probably hear, there's a lot of honks and waves as the drivers pass us by.
Donations can be made online, by phone, or in person. You can find out more details at misericordiafoundation.com. Still ahead, a massive police operation nets thousands of kilograms of hard drugs and hundreds of arrests.
It's a real shining example of the feds, the provinces, and municipal agencies all working together.
What the countrywide sting says about drug trafficking network in Canada and what comes next. That's still ahead.
Give a child a winter coat. You give them the means to go to school on a cold day, a chance to play outside, because no child should be freezing cold. Donate to Coats for Kids. Proudly sponsored by United Way Winnipeg and CTV.
Manitobans have more economic freedom than half the country, according to a new report. The Fraser Institute is out with its annual Economic Freedom Report, which ranks Manitoba 5th in Canada and 54th in North America. Economic freedom is a measure of how free people are to choose where they work, what they buy and sell, how they acquire and use property, and other factors. The report says Alberta is the most economically free Canadian province, while Quebec is the least. Our province ranked below most U.S. states, but ahead of Mexico. Turning to the markets now, crude oil lost 68 cents. The Canadian dollar is mostly unchanged. Gold fell $54. The TSX dropped 52 points. The Dow Jones added 185 points, while the Nasdaq is up 137 points. A joint strike force involving more than 100 police agencies in Canada has resulted in record seizures of fentanyl over several months. It's action forced on Canada by the Trump administration, and it reveals massive amounts of drugs are being trafficked in Canada. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
These investigations took place on opposite ends of our province.
For months, police across Canada, in big cities and small towns, have been targeting organized crime.
We did find this group had certain photos or emblems.
Between May and October, a joint strike force of more than 100 police agencies focused on taking illegal fentanyl off the streets. Police seized 386 kilograms of fentanyl, more than 1,700 kilograms of methamphetamine, and nearly 6,000 kilograms of cocaine, along with more than $13 million in cash.
There's some big players here, and there's some smaller departments, but it's a real shining example of the feds, the provinces, and municipal agencies all working together.
A chunk of fentanyl there.
This is the second time that a national effort was coordinated by the RCMP to target deadly opioids after Donald Trump accused Canada of not doing enough to stem the flow of fentanyl across the border earlier this year.
Canada's a very bad abuser.
The RCMP say more than 8,000 arrests and charges were laid involving 200 organized crime groups. Despite the record quantities of seizures, investigators say fentanyl is being trafficked for domestic use, not being exported.
The source is not each other. The source is from external countries, external regions. So fentanyl is not going certainly from Canada to the U.S.
The RCMP say China continues to be the biggest source of precursor chemicals that go into the making of illegal fentanyl. In the near future, the Mounties plan to target ports, rail yards, and airports, along with drugs that are sent through the mail. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Manitoba government says it's been using conservation officers to help keep an eye out for migrants and drug smugglers along the U.S. border. The operation has been underway for 11 months now. The province promised 11 conservation officers would spend more time in the border area and alert police or border services if they saw anything suspicious. But so far, the Natural Resources Minister says, as far as he knows, officers haven't seen anything illegal. New Zealand officials say a 19-year-old Canadian has been arrested after attempting to smuggle drugs into the country. Officials say the suspect had 15 kilograms of methamphetamine in his luggage and was taken into custody at Auckland's airport after flying in from Vancouver. The drugs are estimated to be worth about $3.65 million. Ahead of Prime Minister Mark Carney's address to the Assembly of First Nations, chiefs unanimously passed an emergency resolution demanding a withdrawal of the new pipeline deal between Ottawa and Alberta. ABC's Abigail Beeman reports.
This resolution has been accepted and approved by consensus.
The Assembly of First Nations unanimously passed a motion to keep the oil tanker ban off the BC West Coast and called to scrap the MOU with Alberta that sets the stage for a new pipeline.
We will use every measure possible to fight and oppose an oil pipeline.
Merle Alexander is representing 2 BC coastal First Nations at the Assembly and says a proposed pipeline is a threat to many people's not just livelihood, but very essence.
First Nations in Canada are feeling overwhelmed, that they're feeling as though the duty to consult is being undermined.
Canada can create all the MOUs, project offices, advisory groups that they want, but chiefs are united. When it comes to approving large national projects on First Nations lands, there will not be getting around rights holders.
It's bad enough First Nations don't trust the government, and this makes it even worse.
BC's regional chief came to Ottawa with the message that First Nations need to be consulted about development on their territory.
Not about us without us, and that is a rounding message, I think, not only with the resolution, but with all our concerns in regards to Bill C-5.
And it's a message not just coming from BC.
We've had enough of being excluded, and there's going to be trillions of dollars going to be extracted over the next 10 to 100 years, and for First Nations to get chump change, it's not going to happen.
The Special Chiefs Assembly continues here until Thursday. Also on the agenda, a plenary session about the Major Projects Office and Indigenous Advisory Committee. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Ukraine's president made his first official visit to Ireland today. Vladimir Zelensky is continuing to seek European support for the war against Russia amid ongoing efforts to end the conflict.
And the most difficult questions, or questions with the challenges, it's about territories. It's about frozen assets. because I can't just myself speak on behalf of European leaders. It's about money, which are frozen, but in Europe.
The Irish government announced an additional 100 million euros for non-lethal military assistance and another 25 million to help Ukraine support its energy system. In Moscow, an American delegation met with Vladimir Putin today. The Russian president accused Ukraine's European allies of sabotaging U.S.-led efforts by amending peace proposals with demands that are unacceptable. Pope Leo ended his visit to Lebanon today with a mass in Beirut and a visit to the site of the devastating port explosion of 2020. 218 people were killed in that explosion. The Pope placed a wreath at a memorial and spoke to the families of victims. He also held a public mass at the city's waterfront, which was attended by an estimated 150,000 people. Tonight, luxury brand Prada says it's completed the acquisition of high fashion brand Versace. Prada signed an agreement in April to buy Versace from a U.S.-based company for around 1.3 billion euros. That's about 2.1 billion Canadian dollars. Versace was founded in 1978 by Gianni Versace in Milan and became known for its bold and glamorous style. Shortly before the deal was announced in March, Donatella Versace stepped down after nearly 3 decades as the brand's creative chief. Several people in Alberta captured images of an object lighting up the night sky. Witnesses spotted this fireball. It was seen from areas across the province and lasted about 10 to 20 seconds, heading from the northeast to the southwest. Some online sleuths have suggested it could be space debris on re-entry, but there's been no confirmation.
When you go to pay, it's already set up for certain percentages.
Tipping culture out of control. What rules a consumer group wants to make the practice better?
We'll get a break from the snow tomorrow in the south before it returns on Thursday. Again, not expected to see significant amounts. We didn't today either. -7 is the high. Then we get Friday, clouding over, -9 degrees, the forecast high. Then a colder weekend, starting off Friday night with a low of -21 degrees. Just -16 Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, -19 on Sunday. Also a mix of sun and cloud, up to -12 degrees by Monday.
Team Carrie Einarson will wear Canada colours at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts next month in Mississauga, Ontario. Curling Canada says the Gimli rink will assume the title of Team Canada at the Playgrounds at the end of January. The reigning champions, skipped by Rachel Homan, will not return to defend their title as that team prepares for the Winter Olympics in February. Einarson is a 4-time Canadian champion. Her team already earned one of the 3 pre-qualification berths for the Scotties based on last season's rankings. People are being solicited for tips more often than ever, and now a consumer advocacy group in Quebec is calling for tighter controls. CTV's Matt Gilmore explains.
It's a custom Canadians are used to, leaving 15 to 20% at bars, restaurants, and for delivery drivers. But in recent years, consumers have noticed the expectation to tip is expanding.
Once in a while, encounter a place that has tipping that you're not really expecting it, like a dry cleaner, something like that, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm kind of paying for the service. Why do I need to tip on top of it?
Consumer advocacy group Option Consommateur found tips are now being solicited at all types of businesses.
Des boulangeries, des chocolateries, des commerces de détail, des professionnels, des mécaniciens.
Lawyer Alexandre Plourde says a recent survey suggests Quebecers are growing frustrated and don't like the tactics sometimes being used to squeeze more out of customers.
When you go to pay, it's already set up for certain percentages, and it kind of makes it a bit weird if you don't tap on it.
They have 15% good. You ever seen that one? 18 better and, you know, really good. They're giving a value to the tip. That's a tough one too, you know.
In May, Quebec banned that sort of practice. And now tips have to be calculated based on pre-tax totals. Plourde calls that a good first step.
Et on propose aussi d'encadrer les types de commerçants qui peuvent solliciter du pourboire.
He wants to limit the types of businesses that can ask for tips And he says a 15% option should be mandatory.
Ce qui correspond à la norme sociale.
For people who rely on tips, like Jess Gagne, it's a tricky subject.
Tipping culture, what sucks about it, really, is that the workers are just not getting paid a fair wage. And then it falls back on the consumer.
She says it puts everyone in a tough spot.
It should be like a nice extra thing, whereas it kind of feels like an obligation right now.
But not everybody feels the pressure.
I mean, I feel like I've never been forced to tip, so it's fine.
And none of the people we spoke to today want the servers to pay the price. But for many, it feels like tipping culture has gone too far. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
You know what else is going too far?
Yeah, the temperature
down.
Yes. Well, buckle up, folks. It's going to be a very cold night in parts of the province. It will be cold enough here in Winnipeg, but it will be extremely cold in parts of the north. Now, today we've had that Alberta Clipper quickly zipping along, dropping off a little bit of snow along the way. It looks like for the most part the snow has wrapped up in terms of what's falling anyway. Out in the southwest, you might get a little bit of blowing snow. There is a greater expectation that we will see blowing snow here in the Red River Valley tonight. In the city, the snow is still falling a little bit, but those winds have already strengthened from the north. So if you are doing any driving tonight here in the city in open areas or out on the highways in the Red River Valley, watch out for blowing snow. Further east into northwestern Ontario, you can see the radar even more active there with snow continuing. Again, it should end for you pretty early this evening, but watch out for blowing snow in those communities as well. It is clearing out in the north and the temperatures are plummeting, so much so that Environment Canada has issued a weather alert. Now, you'll notice the language is a little different. It's a yellow warning cold. Now, just within the last few days, Environment Canada has issued a revamped version of its weather alerting system. So the most succinct way to try to explain it, and I'm still learning myself, this is the first night that we've had a warning issued for Manitoba. Basically, Environment Canada will look at the confidence it has in its forecast from low to quite high, along an axis where the other part of the axis will look at the expected weather impacts from low to extreme. You look at the both together when focusing on a particular weather system incoming, and it will determine whether or not we'll see a yellow warning issued, a more severe, if you will, orange alert issued, that's brand new, or ultimately we'll still see some of those red warnings, which are the most severe or dangerous weather. So I hope that makes some sense. Again, I'm still learning this as well. We have a yellow warning in effect tonight for Brochet and to Dooley Lake, where wind chill values there are expected to feel as cold as -45, if not colder tonight, with some moderation expected there tomorrow. Meanwhile, we'll have that snow moving out of Manitoba anytime soon, and quite shortly after that out of northwestern Ontario, but do watch for blowing snow, as I mentioned, more so in the Red River Valley. Clearing out across the province tonight and into Wednesday we go, where it will be sunny, but we're looking at mid-minus teens for daytime highs tomorrow across the south, colder in the north. And then the next round of snow moves into Manitoba as we get overnight and into Thursday, and this snow will come across the south, including through Winnipeg, but it looks like it'll move along pretty quickly as well. So for tonight, with the snow ending in terms of what's falling, it will be blowing around in those strong north winds. -19 is the low tomorrow. -18 for the commute. Winds out of the northwest at 20 with a high of just -16 degrees in the sunshine. I will have your full provincial forecast coming up a little later on in the newscast. But for now, let's take a look at our first weather photo. This is some ice piling up. This is out at Lester Beach along the shores of Lake Winnipeg. That photo is from Carly. And this next one is a sundog. 'Tis the season. This is east of Douglas in southwestern Manitoba from Nancy. Send us your pics to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. If you're planning a trip out of the country, you may want to check on the condition of your passport. As CTV's Pat Foran reports, a woman was refused entry into one country because hers was slightly damaged.
I think we caught somebody at the table that had a bad day and wanted to prove something.
Andy Field and Jason Tate of Georgetown went to Costa Rica in mid-November to celebrate an anniversary. Field says her puppy chewed the corner of her passport, but that she's used it to travel to other countries without issue.
It's barely like this much off the corner of it. I tried to take it to Service Canada, and they actually told me it wasn't damaged enough to be replaced. So I've had it for 5 years. We've traveled to 7 different countries with it.
But when she landed at the Liberia airport in Costa Rica, a staff member said her passport was too damaged to enter the country. She was held in detention for 24 hours and told she would have to fly home.
He was allowed in the country. I was not. So he was actually escorted to the exit and told to figure it out. And I was taken into a detention cell.
Tate says they tried to stay positive, but the situation escalated quickly.
They brick-walled us every single time we tried to talk to them or communicate with them.
He ended up staying in a nearby hotel. The couple bought return tickets to Toronto, but then were not allowed to board the plane. They had to buy 2 more tickets the next day.
They processed me like a criminal. Like, they took all of my information. They asked for my saliva.
Rips, tears, water damage, those are all typical things that technically you're not supposed to have. I mean, you might get lucky and someone might not question you, but the problem is you might get unlucky and someone will.
Travel expert Lauren Christie says it's better to be safe than sorry and always replace a damaged passport.
And don't check it the day of. Check it a couple of weeks ahead of time so you have a chance to rectify the situation if you need to.
The couple planned to spend about $2,000 but had to pay about $8,000 for the last-minute flights and other expenses. Field plans to get a new passport but won't be heading back to Costa Rica.
I feel like I've been stripped of like all of my security and confidence to travel, and now I have zero confidence in traveling anywhere.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Most kids by age 12 already had a smartphone.
The new rite of passage. What is the right age for a child to get their first smartphone, and what happens if they get it too early? This is Giving Tuesday, one of the most important donation drives of the year. It follows American Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday. Giving Tuesday is a moment to support charities, community groups, or causes that matter to you. And even small donations can make a big impact for families and programs in need. My guest today, Laura Curtis, is with the Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation, which is hoping you will consider giving to it this Giving Tuesday. Laura, great to speak with you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I know the foundation is raising funds today for some pretty important equipment. Tell us a bit about what you're hoping to purchase.
So we're raising funds to purchase a series of freezers and incubators for the Paul Albertson Research Institute at Cancer Care Manitoba. And these pieces of equipment are critical pieces of infrastructure to all of the research programs taking place here at Cancer Care Manitoba.
Yeah, that's really the key message here, because the addition of this equipment could really lead to breakthroughs in treatments for Manitobans.
Exactly. The freezers are really important to store those really critical patient samples and other cells. And then the incubators are what the scientists use for their experiments, which will hopefully lead to new breakthroughs, new discoveries, leading to improved treatments for Manitobans with cancer.
I'm guessing these items are pretty pricey.
They are, and we're hoping to purchase a series of 12 different incubators and freezers to really support the important work happening there.
Well, the good news is that, as I understand it, donations made as part of Giving Tuesday are actually being doubled right now.
Exactly. Yeah, we're very fortunate to have IA Financial Group matching all donations up to $25,000, and we have an anonymous donor matching donations up to $10,000. So it's really great. You know, donors, they want to know that their money can go a little further if it can. So having that matching gift is really important.
Yeah, and these donations stay right here to help Manitobans. How can those watching help out and donate as part of Giving Tuesday?
The easiest way is to go online to givemoretomorrows.ca and click donate now, and all donations will support the purchase of this equipment and will stay here in our province to help Manitobans with cancer.
Well, we hope you get a lot of donations. Laura, thanks so much for taking time to speak with us tonight.
Thank you.
New research is out about smartphones and kids, specifically the potential health risks of giving a young child a phone. Hannah Bada explains.
It's a question so many parents face. How old should your child be before getting them a smartphone? Now, a study in the journal Pediatrics finds children who had a smartphone before the age of 12 were at a higher risk for depression, obesity, and insufficient sleep than those who did not yet have one. Researchers also finding the younger a child is when they get a smartphone, the higher their risk for developing those issues.
Most kids by age 12 already had a smartphone. The median age was 11. The kids with having a smartphone overall was associated with worse outcomes.
While researchers stop short of recommending a specific age for phone readiness, doctors say the decision comes down to weighing the benefits of a phone against a child's maturity and level of responsibility.
We need to be thinking about their health, online exposure, potential addictive behavior, and how owning a smartphone might affect their long-term health.
A smartphone does have its benefits, such as increased connectivity and access to information. But doctors say parents should impose rules to limit potential harm, like no phones at dinner or at bedtime, and make sure kids still take part in activities not requiring phones.
We want less devices, less screens, more childhood.
While the study only shows an association between phone use and those health conditions, not a direct cause, researchers recommend parents talk to their child's doctor to determine when they're ready for a phone. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Koster Denture Clinic.
I hadn't realized until then that when a man says he is spoken for, that is quite literally what he means.
2025 is shaping up to be a hilarious year. Two more well-known comedians are making stops in our province. Those details next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Took, All-Star Canadian Classic Rock.
A global comedy sensation is heading out on his biggest Canadian tour yet, with not one but two stops in our province.
She said to me, Jimmy, we're at a crossroads in our relationship. Down one road is hard work and commitment, but ultimately, happiness. And down the other road, well, the other road is a dead end. And I said, that's not a crossroads, that's a T-junction.
Jimmy Carr is bringing his razor-sharp wit and biting social commentary to Winnipeg and Brandon next fall. He's set to take the stage at Centennial Concert Hall in Winnipeg November 14th and Brandon's Assiniboine Credit Union Place November 15th. Tickets go on sale Friday. Just visit jimmycarr.com. And Carr is not the only big-name comedian with his sights set on our city.
I try my best to buy the environmentally friendly products, but a lot of them suck. They do. Those green dishwasher cubes, they never work. You'd be better off handing your plates beneath the table for the dog to lick.
Canada's own Ron James is bringing his The Noise Between Our Ears tour to Winnipeg in the spring. His farcical everyman approach promises to skewer everything from Trump to lost luggage and the off-kilter world we find ourselves in. He'll be appearing at Burton Cummings Theatre May 9th. Tickets for that show go on sale Friday through Ticketmaster. The Winnipeg Jewish Theatre has announced a first, the co-production of a timeless classic. The theatre is partnering with Rainbow Stage to bring Fiddler on the Roof to life. The production kicks off under the dome in September 2026, directed by WJT Artistic Director Dan Petrenko. It will be the 5th time the musical returns to Rainbow Stage, where it was last produced in 1993. It follows milkman Tevye and his daughters as they grapple with love and faith and change, all in a shifting world. Tickets are available through Rainbow Stage's box office. Your Tuesday night lineup starts with E-Talk and The Big Bang Theory at 7. MasterChef Canada is at 8. And at 9, catch The Traders Canada. And 911 wraps things up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
The CTV Primetime lineup is brought to you by Strictly Amish, exclusively in Arborg, Manitoba. Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S Antique Spa Salon.
And now we'll take that swing around the province, heading up first to the northeast. Cold tonight. Churchill will drop to around -28 before bumping up to -24 by morning. But look at these temperatures. -28 in Gillam, -26 in Island Lake over to Thompson as well. Very cold there. You'll see sunshine around the region tomorrow with temperatures staying in the -20s. In the northwest tonight, just a few clouds over Flin Flon and the Paw, -25 and -23 respectively, but as cold as -27 in Lynn Lake. Norway House up to -19 tomorrow under a mix of sun and cloud all around the region. A mix of sun and cloud with highs between -18 and -21. In the southwest tonight, all the way down to -20 in Brandon, -22 for Dauphin. Similar temperatures around the region. Bright and sunny tomorrow with highs all around the southwest, including Brandon, around -16 degrees. Winnipeg in the southeast, the snow wrapping up any time now for Winnipeg and the surrounding areas, lasting a little longer to the east of us, but watch for blowing snow tonight in very strong winds. We drop down to -19 degrees around the region. Sunshine tomorrow with highs in that -15, -16 degree range. And snow will end tonight too this evening, and watch out for blowing snow there. Sunshine and some strong winds return tomorrow, but so do some cold temperatures. A quick look at your 7-day forecast. We'll get a break tomorrow from the snow. It returns on Thursday. Some milder temperatures clouding over by Friday.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, you may hear a ringing or a clanging sound the next time you visit Assiniboine Park Zoo, but don't be alarmed. Oh. That's because this is what you'll probably be hearing if you hear those sounds. The zoo's muskox blowing off some steam. That's what this is. On social media, the zoo says it recently added that little contraption you see on your screen. So Rumble and Emerald can practice their headbutting, and it's just a small part of the zoo's efforts to provide species-specific enrichment. So far, that bell, you could say, has been a ringing success, Colleen. But they're having a lot of fun. I like that.
We might need one in the newsroom here. Maybe for a day, and then we'd get a little tired of it. But it'd be fun.
I don't know if we have the head that the muskox do to sustain that. Yeah.
Maybe it's not such a good idea.
Have a good night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.